a small doubt.
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
So if it is difficult to analyze, I mean, get this, the, appropriate weights in order to minimize the loss. If it is difficult to do it analytically using calculus or something, then is it done programmatically using like algorithms and stuff?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, so there is it's also a mathematical solution, but it
Okay.
is, yeah, but it is done in a step-by-step process. Okay.
Okay. In a
So,
numerical way, more numerical way. You mean?
yes, it's more numerical
Okay.
way. Yes.
And
So,
yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
no, go ahead. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, you can ask. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
So the whole, if I'm not wrong, the entire act of learning is basically the act of reducing the loss
Exactly.
and finding
Correct.
the suitable weights.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct. Yeah.
Because we, as humans, we have a kind of a meaning for the word learning, right? It's a normal word. So
Yeah.
technically, it's so complex. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is what is called as learning. Yeah.
The prediction need to be without any deviation. That's what he is thinking. Am I correct?
Exactly.
Correct. Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
So he is able to probably go to the right point, so you get the target, so that you don't deviate. You have the minimal error. The weights are working fine. Behavior is good. So for that is not easier because you cannot analyze each and every set, because one set will show one side, another set will show one side, all those things. Instead of that, what you do is, based on loss, he's trying to find out how to minimize the loss so that he can fit it inside.
Yes. So yeah, so what we do is, so we do not get the immediate solution. So what we do is, so remember, in the first step, we randomly initialize the weights, right? So which was close to 0. Okay, actually this figure is a little bit misleading, because it is saying like the minimum is at 0. Okay, so this graph, the loss is minimum at 0, 0. Okay, but usually it will not be, not all weights will be 0. Some weights can be 0, but this picture looks like all weights are 0 and the loss is it's little. So just imagine this graph is shifted a bit, like maybe moved a little bit to the right, or a little bit away from 0, 0. So the minimum is not at this 0, 0. Okay, so so initially we would have initialized close to 0, 0. Okay, not exactly 0, 0, but close to 0, 0. So let's say we initialized here. Okay, let's say we initialized -1, and this one also -1. So let's say we initialize somewhere here. Okay, so now what you do is you find the derivative of this function. Okay, it's a differentiable function. Okay, and you find the derivative of this function, and then you calculate. So actually there is a what is that? There is a fact, that is, when you find the derivative of a multivariable function, it will give you the direction of the greatest ascent. Okay, so yeah, again something a bit complicated. Basically what it's saying is, it will give you, if you find the gradient at this point, for example, it will, the output will be a direction. Direction means a vector, because it's multivariable, so you'll get a vector output. Okay, so the vector will point, okay, in a from the point you're looking, where you started, it will point in a direction of greatest ascent. So wherever the graph is going upwards the most, okay, that is where it will point. So that is a property of a derivative of a multivariable function. Okay, this is just a proven property. Okay, so remember, we want to reach the minimum, right? So once we get that greatest, I mean the steepest ascent, the direction where it is rising the fastest, we just negate it. That is, we multiply by minus, so it will point in the opposite direction, which is pointing downwards. And then we take a few steps, and then we move to a W value. So remember, whenever we move on this graph, we are actually moving in the W values. Okay, so whenever we go down, that means the loss is coming down. And as you go down, because this is a surface, so there is some changes in the W1 and there is some changes in the W2. Okay, so there will be some changes. So then it will get, actually it will get closer and closer to, that's what we want. We want to get closer to this minimum point, right? So basically what happens is, you get the direction from your initial random point that you initialized. You find the derivative at that point, then you'll get a direction that is, you know, going to the sorry, steepest ascent going upwards. Then you multiply by -1, then you'll get the steepest descent going downwards. Okay, then if you, so it's a vector, so if you want to move a few steps along that direction of the vector, you just multiply, you just add your position vector, the value of your initial point plus the vector by a certain amount. You can like scalar multiply the vector and then you add something, then you will move on to a newer point. Okay, that is, it will take you to a newer W value. Then what they do is, again they do a differentiation here, and then they will find steepest ascent going that way. Actually the steepest ascent can change, you know, it can change direction. It is not always pointing upwards. Okay, for a bit complicated function like this, the steepest ascent direction can change as you move along. So basically you take steps like that, and then after you move, every time you will move this along this W1 and W2, you will move, and then when the loss is very low or the loss does not change anymore, you will be at the optimal value of W1 and W2. Okay, so that is how the learning process actually happened. That is how we find the correct W values, such that the predicted output and the target value are matching. Okay, such that the deviation between them is very small. Okay, so this process is called stochastic gradient descent. Okay, so descent is because we multiply by -1. Okay, which is like whatever I said is actually captured in this this formula. So the initial, so this is the initial weights. This is the, after you find, this is the gradient that I was talking about. You take the gradient and then you I told you you have to scalar multiply to move a certain amount from the initial value. So that is this neta. This neta is a scalar value. It's called a learning rate parameter in neural networks. So if this is a big value, right, you will take big steps. So maybe in few iterations you can already reach your minimum. Okay, so but it also has downsides. So these things, these parameters have to be carefully set. Actually, you cannot simply set high values. Okay, so here there is an animation. Sorry. So here there is an animation to show what I explained. So let's say we started here, the random initial weights. So after first iteration, we find the gradient and then we do the weight update. We move to a new weight here. Then in the second iteration, again, we do a forward pass. Okay, we don't need to do a forward pass. Actually, the reason for a forward pass is to calculate the difference. If the loss is, you know, decreasing, you know, just to check if the loss is decreasing. Okay, so we actually compute the gradient at this point for the second iteration. Then we update. Then it will take us to this point. Yeah, and so on. So it will take us all the way to the minimum point. The minimum point, you'll have a gradient of 0. The vector you will get will be all zeros. So this will be all zeros. Okay. Yeah. But you can just think like that. But in reality, this surface is not very nice like this. Okay. It will have a lot of plateaus. Learning will slow down because the gradient is not changing so much, but it is also not 0. So there'll be issues, but yeah, but for our understanding, we can just think about this like this. So this is weights. These two are weights. This is loss. The z-axis is loss. Y and x is weights. So as the weights decrease, the y value and x value are changing until they come to a nice optimal value where your loss will be reduced. Okay, it will be reduced. Yeah. So yeah, so that is the idea behind it. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I have shared 2 links here actually. So this nice website called Loss Landscape. So basically they will come up with some architecture for the neural network, and then what they will do is they will try to plot out this kind of graph, you know, not a very high dimensional one, like this kind of 3-dimensional kind of graph, and it looks very beautiful. It's like art kind of a thing. Okay, so maybe later you can check it out. And this link is like everything I explained actually is inside this link. Weight update mechanism, you can check also. So basically this is what happens when we want to, you know, do the minimization of the loss function. Yeah, so we do this, and then next, so we have to stop this iteration, right? We cannot keep on finding the derivative, updating the weight. We can't keep going like that. Okay, so when do we stop? So so if we don't stop, what we do is we go back to first step, which is forward pass, and perform forward pass on the new data sample. So basically, if you see, every time in this function, right, there is this x, which is our data point. So in every iteration, actually, you will use a new data point. Okay, and the reason for this is, okay, there is a mathematical reason, that is because every x will generate a new loss surface. Is that right? Every x will generate a slightly new loss surface. Then if we like go, I mean, do the gradient descent for every different loss surface, on average, right, it will all converge to the, you know, it will converge to the average data's loss surface. Okay, you can think like that. So you just take the average of all the loss surfaces for all the points, then to that average, when you do this gradient descent, you can think that it will converge to that, the W values will converge to the average loss surface, you know. So that's why in every iteration we take a different point, different x value, so the loss surface will be slightly different every time. Yeah.
Okay, just a small question again.
Yeah.
So in every iteration, we are taking different x values. I was under the impression that it is fixed. Okay, only j value we are modifying accordingly. So now, is it assured that the loss surface will be slightly only different? It will be, or can it be like entirely different? Or because if it is slightly different, it makes sense, because I can expect it to converge, right? But in every iteration, if the loss surface itself is very, very different, even then, is it proven that it is going to converge?
Yeah, I think so. Because the large differences are not at the minimum point. At all other points apart from the minimum point, okay. At the extreme points they are different, but at the, you know, the around where the minimum is,
point of minima,
point of minima is almost the same for all the different almost same does not mean they are same. There is some difference, but it's around there. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, the difference
it makes sense. Yeah, even without mathematics also it kind of makes sense, because we are searching for the appropriate weights, which is supposed to work for all different types of inputs.
Yes,
So
that's
it is,
right.
these weights are supposed to give us the least loss for all different types of inputs. So it actually makes sense for us to keep on changing the inputs also in every iteration.
Correct. You're right. You're right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because every data need to go to the right bin. That is, whether it is a high risk, medium
Yeah.
risk, or low risk. It is not going. So why it is not going? So you have to make it go. That's what he is trying to do. So the loss is indirectly showing you the deviation. The deviation should not be there. So he's trying to put it into the right side. So let it go forward. But when you do that, you cannot work with a single one. Okay, I take one, put it into the right bin. Then again, I come back and take the second one, put it in the right bin. If you do that, then you will have more bias. Because the reason is, for example, I have a aged man, then I work like something like that. I have a young man, I work something like that. It'll try to form a pattern instead of giving you the overall idea of reducing the loss.
Okay.
Whatever comes, I don't care. I try to keep training it so that it puts the right bin. So since it still it puts the right bin, I'll keep on training it. That's the idea. That's why he's taking a lot of sets for training rather than testing.
Okay.
So you expect when you test, you expect minimal loss, of course, minimum deviation indirectly. Yeah.
Okay.
Are we talking sense, Peterson?
Yes. So yeah, we are using the different.
Because in my statistics class, I had a very beautiful example from my professor last time. The one for MBA, but still it is applicable here also. He used a theory called random walk theory. So a drunken man, you cannot make him walk straight. So how to make him walk straight? That is called a random walk Z theory. Indirectly is touching upon that theory. Then if we use the word stochastic, how you pronounce it, Peterson?
It's stochastic. Yeah.
Stochastic, yeah.
Yeah,
Then
it
I
just
remember
means
that random
random.
walk theory. Yeah, random walk theory.
Yeah.
I put the definition on the chat.
Yes. It is called.
So, Peterson, you need some live examples to see how things are happening. Because you talk too mathematically. Now I can see Das brother is 100% understood. Because to me, silence means you understand 100% or zero. Okay, either zero or 100, top or bottom.
I'm just trying to follow.
Okay. It's good. Yeah, it's good. No problem. Actually, I can present one more time. Actually, because you guys did not have the opportunity to read beforehand. That's why this is a bit difficult.
No problem. Actually, it is very nice because two technical guys tried to explain to different domain people. Domain means different area people. We are all. I am trying to fit into my statistics.
Okay.
And I don't know about because he is very good at mathematics, so he can fit. Shanmugh, I don't know, but he is already is an automation guy, so for him it's not a big thing. Das brother, I pity him because his work is like that. He's all in all. Yeah. He do project management, he do algorithm, he do everything.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm like the way I will try to shake hand with you. Am I understanding properly or not? I will do it. But basically, I am zero in mathematics.
Okay. It's okay. I mean, nobody is good at
I'm using just saying comparative algorithm. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, like when you were teaching about shell scripting also, I was almost very blur.
Yes,
I didn't understand so many things. So
because practically you need to see something live so that you can understand it.
Okay. Yeah.
When you show this diagram, I was thinking about terrain drawing. We used to have a terrain drawing, in the Excel you can see terrain drawing. When you see the terrain drawing, you can see where the the peaks are there, where the depths are there. Then we can see how much deviation is there. That's all. That we use it in MIS, now called business intelligence.
Okay.
What you're doing is visualization. Indirectly, this is called visualization. I was talking to Fasil few days only. They exactly the same thing. You can ask him. I was talking to him about visualization because this one make you see how it is, how the pattern is.
Yes.
You keep on putting in numbers, nobody can understand. You put on equations, nobody can understand. You put this diagram, everybody can understand.
Yeah.
Oh, that the second diagram is more interesting. Oh, that particular area is very deep. The other areas trying to touch. One red area is very interesting because it's very too top. So that means there we have to focus how to bring it down. Why that weightage? That weightage, is it correct or not? That means we have to do some kind of testing, iteration. So that side need more iteration, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that I am now applying defect management in Agile.
Okay.
You know, Das brother is Agile expert. He's a step Agile. And I am a certified Scrum Master. He is a step Scrum Master.
Okay.
So we try to bring it into our subject.
Yeah.
Our subject is defect management. That's all. But we don't do any calculus, other things and all. We don't want defect. That's all.
Okay.
If there is defect, rectify it. That's all. Correct, Das brother?
Yes, brother. Correct.
If any program have a defect, we have to rectify it.
Yeah. So Peterson, you are trying to create a model, right? So this one is you have a training set and a test set. Finally, you have a model that can predict what is the forecast or what is going to happen.
He is making a model to make the loss come down.
Okay.
So that he can get what is the expected output.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is, Das brother, do you remember last time I told you, when you are flying a flight, you put it into autopilot. How the autopilot is doing is through AI. So when some thunderstorm is coming, there are sensors who can sense the thunderstorm or electricity or water, wetness, all those. Then give all those inputs like what he says, a neural network. Then it calculates and try to adjust the flight accordingly. So that is based on feedback. So he is using this model for feedback. So he gives the feedback so he can rectify automatically. See here, you cannot keep on rectifying manually. You will go to a certain level where you will make the whole system go automatic. So it will automatically feedback. Then we will come into Shanmugh area, which is IoT. In IoT, there will be 2000 IoT. You cannot go and rectify each and every IoT. You have only one program where one particular line is wrong, so you can rectify it. But a machine, how to go and rectify, and when it is working, how to rectify. So you need some algorithm to feedback to you. Then you make sure this machine is not working or not properly behaving. Then he isolate the machine. Then rest of things keeps going on. Then he rectify. Shanmugh, am I telling correctly? You are muted.
Yeah. Right.
Am I telling correctly?
I think correct. Yeah. I didn't hear. I missed some part.
Okay. Let me tell again. He is trying to make a model work so that any particular IoT device is not behaving as expected behavior. The rest of the IoT behavior will keeping on doing calculation and keeping the data set or what graphing or what controlling or what you keeps on going. But you will find out something is not working. You will isolate it and you will do some iterations on that to make it behave. If it's not behaving, you will simply switch it off. That's all. Am I correct, Shanmugh?
Yeah, that's what he trying to minimize by using this training method.
Yes. Model. That model is actually used to make the system go in right direction. In same way, keep on working. He keeps on working. Because in artificial intelligence, you cannot stop certain things. You have to keep working. So before making that into release means you're going to put it into the live, you must ensure that it can behave. That's why it's fine. Peterson, am I correct?
Yes, bro.
Yeah.
So the 70% of the input, right, for the ones that are used for the testing, is all hand-picked ones, or?
Yes, you can consider that 70% is hand-picked. Yeah.
Cluster sampling. Cluster means chose by you.
So
You make a cluster.
So the idea for the 70% is, let us say, okay, yeah, if we just take the insurance example, okay, let's take high risk, medium risk, and low risk. Okay, so the idea is you just have to make sure that in that 70% you have all these three classes inside. Okay, so you should not miss out. Like, you cannot just use medium and high risk data, only those two data for the for the training, and then you expect the model to perform for low risk data during testing. You cannot do that. So this is what I meant by you need to be comprehensive. You have to cover the entire distribution of the data set that might come out during testing or during production, or something like that. So yeah, so the thing is, all the classes should be covered during the training time. And note that even though all the classes are covered, actually the inputs are slightly varied, right? They are numbers, so it's not like this exact number results in this particular class. So slightly different numbers can also result in this particular class. So that is the part that the network will learn and kind of try to generalize. Yeah, but the 70% should definitely have the three classes. So that the testing and this production parts will also be predicted correctly. Yeah.
Das brother, you see, he is using 0 to 1, right? So when he's using 0 to 1, for example, you are taking age. So you need one person, minimum one person, highest age in your data set. Because you cannot say, I can have 100 years man. What you have only you can pick it up. In your data set, what is the highest value, what is the lowest value, and what is the middle value? This three data is minimum required. And after that, you can pick up in the middle value 20, in the highest value 20, or you want also 5 point. Okay, in between we took 3 point. Remember, we took 1, 0.5 and 0. You can also have 0.25, something like that. You understand what I'm trying to say? Statistically, I'm telling. So when you do that, you know how much roughly you can pick it up. Totally, you have 300 numbers of data. For example, you want to do 70%. So 70% means how much you need to pick up, Das brother? 210, right? 210, you put 7 point, for example, not 3 point. 3 point is 1, 0.5 and 0. Instead of that, you pick up 7 points. If you pick up, say, 7 point, you can have 30 in each, right? 30 into 7 is 210. So you're already ready. But your distribution, you see, it is across the 0 to 1. You're not picking up more near 1. You're not picking up more near 0. It is well distributed. So you're supposed to have a very good result. But still you're not getting result, then you need to use a model to make it come. So Peterson, am I making sense?
Yes, yeah. Okay. So, okay, then I can try to wrap it up. Yeah, because I think I have taken a long time. Okay.
No, it is okay. It is okay. Because you are too technically good. That's why you try to bring us to there. That is good mind of you. Actually, I
Yeah.
won't come this far into mathematics unless likely mindeds are here. If I'm in a class, I'll be almost snoring.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, this is like required actually in order for the whole AI to work. We have to know in kind of depth. It is required. So that's why AI topic is not very easy, but actually I won't say it's hard also, because you just need to know some things like multivariable calculus, some linear algebra, first course in linear algebra,
Now, can I tell you something very simple? If I don't know something, you got Peterson, you got somebody very strong in mathematics, we can do it. That's all. That is project management. You try to understand, 100% try to do something impossible. That one only God can do.
Okay.
Yeah. Shanmugh brother got a new job. He say, I don't know how to manage his job. I told him just go into the job. You surely, because he started making a model already, correct? Now you ask him, he said, no, it's okay. He said, so the behavior changed. Because you're supposed to, the tennis got two errors, right? Forced error, unforced error, right? So when you have a forced error, you learn. You have to learn, no choice.
Yeah.
For example, the ball is hitting the net. That is, you can't predict it, right?
Yeah.
Where it will go, you don't know. Nobody knows. Any perfect tennis player cannot predict how once it touches the net, where it will go. No one can predict. But once it hit the ground, yes, you can predict. Correct? Because you used to play on the ground, not on the net. So same way. So you have to be forced. Then you can behave. The more laws you have, more you can learn. Correct?
The prediction can be.
Though you are supposed to have a very random data, erratic data, then you behave properly. What, Shanmugh brother? Do you have a erratic people, bosses, erratic task? Then you will learn more.
Yeah, obviously we have to.
Okay. So
He used to say you must work under Japanese because Japanese will treat you very nicely and make you work 24 hours.
yeah.
Slowly they will take from you.
Yeah. Their work culture is very bad.
Yeah. Workaholic.
Workaholic, yeah.
After work, they will all go together as for dinner. The company will buy the dinner. Then they will drink there also. The next day they will come to work. Again they will start working.
Yeah.
That culture nobody can really follow.
But I will say Chinese culture is worse because they will make you work hard and they will not be nice to you. Also.
That one is different thing. Let us not talk about it. Yeah.
Okay. It's a mainland.
Because we are in a country where there are a lot of Chinese people also there.
Okay.
So we're gonna generalize. What you say is for China. Not
China.
Chinese.
Yeah, China. Yeah. China. Yeah.
China is they want to get it done. Okay, that's called exploit. In project management, we call it exploit situation.
Very bad.
You put one person in exploit situation. What happens is he will behave one time with you. Next time he see you, he will try to hide himself. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. There are the third step is there that is happening in Singapore. Okay, I don't know whether you know how to do that. The third step, one person will sincerely do. A sincere person you put in any situation, you will sincerely do it. That person is called, very good title given to him is called honest person. Honest person, this is not said by me, it is said by Kautilya. Kautilya in Arthashastra, he says, anybody is sincere, he will be always sincere. And he will be abused. Kautilya actually used a very wrong word in Sanskrit, but I put it in a nice word. He says indirectly like English, he'll be screwed. Okay, but I'm putting in a proper sense is he will be abused. Okay, another person very diplomatic. Once you see this kind of people are coming, not a good boss is coming, he is going to push you into the very bad situation. He will try to hide himself. He'll say, MC, I'm MC. Today I'm not able to make it. I'm busy with another project. Try to explain. Because normally developers not in one project. You'll be in 2-3 projects. So you will try to escape into another project. You will say, my main boss is calling. I will talk to you later. You will simply escape from me. There is a third one. That is a fantastic one in Singapore. You must learn from Singapore. That one. That I learned only in Singapore. That is called act blur. You know what is act blur?
What is that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But you won't understand anything. I will do it, sir. You will say. But you go behind, then you won't do anything. The boss will come back again because he expect the boss to come back again and ask, sir, I tried to do it. He never did anything. But when the boss is asking, I tried to do it. It's not coming. So I will try it again. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? He tried to impress the boss, but he never worked. That's what called act blur. Das brother also knows. Somebody talking in a management trying to push a task to you. That task will never understand. You are the one to do that. What you are supposed to do? Act blur. That's all. Right? Take it. Because he is a paymaster. So you must take the task. Somehow you have to do it. That somehow is act blur. Then the boss will come next time. First time you accepted. So the boss will be like, he will definitely will like you because this person you say yes. Okay. Then this time you say, sir, I tried and it is not becoming yes, it is becoming no. I will try again yes. Then the boss say, oh, he is working very hard. Then I will try to give you some training. I will try to give you some tool. Boss slowly, authoritative boss try to become supportive. That's the idea of act blur.
Okay.
Don't try to be smart. Don't try to say, I can do it. I cannot do it. Don't say that. I will try it. That's all. This is what working in Singapore culture.
Yeah.
I learned this from Singapore.
Yeah.
Singapore will never say no. Singapore will never say yes. Okay, we will try.
Okay, thanks.
Die must do. What? You are dead. How can you do? You cannot ask like that. You said right. I will do it.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
I just said something because of culture. Nothing to do with this.
Yeah. Thanks for your insight. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
Fazil, anything you want to say?
Nothing much, but this session was really useful and
yeah, you can see. Don't talk so dryly. Talk something informally. Okay. He spoke like lecturer. You're talking like a lecturer. Don't say informative and all. Here and there, I have something. Then I ask a question. Now I'm clear. You talk something like that.
Understood.
Can you see what I'm talking? That is American style. American will never say 100% okay. He will never say 100% bad. He will touch here and there. That's called touch points. Yeah. He will do always touch points. That's American style. Yeah. Don't say informative. What you say is, I asked some questions. Is well answered. That is very important.
Yeah, definitely, it is very helpful.
Yeah. That's what I was having doubts. Then I asked question. Then he answered. I was satisfied with the answer. That is what. This way, you appreciate the trainer. If you say the session is very informative, that means you are talking like a politician.
Okay.
Anbalagan came to Loyola College. We had a Loyola Institute of Business Administration. He took pamphlet of Loyola and studied. He never understood he is coming for the convocation of LIBA, not Loyola. LIBA is Loyola Institute of Business Administration, which is autonomous body inside Loyola, which is answering to University of Madras. He come and say, Loyola started working for 30 years, but LIBA was not 30 years. So people start smiling. Do you understand? Say his homework is wrong. Because he's politician. He tried to gather some data, try to put up some show. And he is talking to Loyola people about Loyola. That is politics. He tried to show, I know of them. The one no use.
Yeah.
So always try to get the insights. You ask questions, right? I asked here and there questions. He answered me like that.
Yeah.
So I was getting some new idea.
Yeah.
Then I'm mathematical side. People here talk about IT, talk about some statistics. I was getting some different ideas. That you give him, Peterson will use it for next session.
Yeah.
We are supposed to provide you feedback.
Yeah.
Next session is next week.
Peterson, you try to cut off more equations.
Okay.
Otherwise, next session, I don't know whether I'll be.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay. I will be busy.
Maybe put
I
more
think-
diagram. I'll be interested in diagram.
Okay, yeah, sure, yeah. But I think I will take some break. Because my work, I have a lot of things. My work is something like this only. I am doing some. Yeah, some.
No, what you're trying to say is you try to show your work to us. Don't do that. No need.
Okay.
No
This
need, no
is
need.
general thing. It's AI general.
What you do is a guideline. Guideline is how we do. What do you think about it? So that people can give you some feedback. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is
I
from
told you, right?
Yeah.
Are they related to your what?
Not exactly, because I am working on like something more complicated, like transformer and all that. But this is it's the basic thing only. Like everybody who has, yeah. This is because
nothing. No, your hypothesis or modeling, nothing going to be a waste because you're trying something. So that you're going to put it into some literature, we call it. So you're going to put it into article or literature, something like that. So people will know, oh, this area is not feasible to go. This area is good to go. So somebody has tried something like that. So that makes research.
Yes.
It's like a forest. You went to this side, that side. So people try to see how many people went to particular direction. Then how many people saw the mountain, how many people saw the water. That will be more proper to say research.
Okay.
How many people never see anything, just keep seeing grass. Yeah, and finally they found out some flower in the grass. That is also an interesting finding, right, in research. Nobody is making a waste. Nobody is making.
Yeah.
So then one place I go, the grass was pulling my leg also. The grass was so deep. So this area, maybe we can avoid it. It's also information. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah, because I came up with this because everybody is saying AI, but actually many people don't know what is inside AI. They just think it is like
they are seeing what is that Yendran movie or Robo 2. They see neural network schema. Then he talk about ba like that. He shake the hand like this. Then he give a sound. They think we can do AI. No. The nut and bolt also, they don't know how to screw it up and what it is made up of, titanium or what, how to fix it, where to get it, where to order it, dye come from where, how it is working. Nobody knows. There's a movie, they're seeing just assembling things. The man who was spearheading the movie, Shankar, he don't know any idea. He's just making use of the technical people to make his movie come into a commercial success. That's the idea. His own model. That's because you show this if Vasikaran, the character, is showing this formula and all in a movie, do you think people will look at it?
No.
They are interested in seeing Aishwarya Rai. They are not interested in seeing your equation.
Yeah.
But still, you need to tell them about science, right? You have to motivate them about. But that part, Shankar has done good.
Yes.
So all using Python only? Or
actually AI is fully Python. Everything is Python. Yeah.
And Python community is very strong.
Oh,
So they are using Python, but there are too many tools in AI. Each person is doing. You must go to American side. Americans normally, what is their culture is, if Das brother is using something, I don't want to use. He's like that. You want to try new thing. So he will try to make his own tool, something like that. So if you go to them, you can see different tools they use. No, a problem is why everybody is using Python is comfort zone.
okay.
I can finish my project. I can have less defect management. Because you are writing some code, you're getting some error, you're going to Google it, nobody's answering it, what you're going to do? You have to solve yourself.
There are some real-time applications out there in the world, right? Now with the neural network.
Yes, yeah,
Yes, too
definitely.
many.
Yeah, they are even using neural network to predict weather now.
Oh,
Yeah, because weather is one of the most difficult things to predict, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so
It is simple, Das brother. When you have data structure, let me not use the algorithm. Let me use the word data structure. If you make a structure, that is modeling. That's what he is trying to do. If that model is in your mind, you walk through it, you can see it visually in something like an artist, something like an architect, something like what he is doing. He is architect also in AI, indirectly. So he is visualizing, is trying to see in which way I can put it, this design. If you can literally can see it in your mind and you can solve those points which are not fixing up properly, which becoming erratically, you put it into proper thing, something like a tent. He's making a tent. The tent is now cannot be shaken by the even storm or anything, like a David tent. It is said in Bible. So that means you are able to make a structure like that. You can use it. A lot of people test it and say, yeah,